Hi viewers, this is Zeke with Odd Job Fix. Today I have a chair made by Don Shoemaker. It's rosewood and it's partially assembled by these pegs, 3 of which were broken, so I have the one to work from. Now, I made rectangles close to square, and I am using a 4-jaw chuck, and that's perfect for something that's like this, not perfectly square, and certainly a 3-jaw chuck wouldn't work at all. You can see that I've already turned one side of it, but I wanted to go back and show you how I held the piece. I don't have to be that accurate, so I'm just going to use this combination square just to get close so I don't run out of concentricity and run out of material as I turn it. I want to be fairly close to the center. So this material is rosewood, as I said. It works a little bit like mahogany. It's an open grain material, and I'm afraid that the tool might catch, so I'm taking light cuts. I don't know exactly what dimension I was using. I would say probably 10 thousandths, which is a 20 thousandths cut overall. So it takes multiple passes and a lot of patience to do something like this, but there's no reason to lose the piece just because it grabbed. Now I can cut going in both directions. It doesn't seem to matter when doing work like this. The angle of the tool doesn't matter too much either because it's just a rounded tool, something that might resemble a chisel that would use on a wood lathe. This is a small piece, or I would be using the wood lathe. And the difference between something like this and say like turning a fountain pen is there's no hole down the center. So I don't have a mandrel or even a center that I can use, so I just have to hold it. Later on I will be using the tailstock and the live center, but I'll show you that when we get there. This is not quite 10 millimeters, or should I say it's a little over 3/8 and not quite 10 millimeters. It's a handmade piece. The idea was for me to get it close to fit into this collet. Now the collet is 3/8, so, but there's a little margin for error there. I think I'll just dress it up with some sandpaper here, but I was pretty close, so I don't want to take too much off. Just the lathe marks. I'll show you again later. It doesn't have to be that smooth. Most of the stuff is buried in the frame of the chair itself, but I want to be able to drive it into the furniture fairly easily. I don't actually have the chair here. I didn't actually do the work driving them in there, but when I took them to the owner, I just said wax them up and drive them in, and they worked. So I believe this is 120. That's maybe 150. That's as fine as I'm going to get. All right, we'll double check with that collet. It's a little loose, but not enough to make any difference. It's going to hold just fine. So here we go. We'll go ahead and take the chuck off the lathe, put the collar holder in there. The collet tightens up on some external threads that are inside the spindle of the lathe, and I happen to have a lever type collet lock, and you'll see in just a second here. I'll reach over there and pull the lever, and there it goes. It's locked. So now we can do the other end. Remember, it all looked like this at one point. Well, this is kind of hanging out there a little bit, and so I'm going to go ahead and bring the live center in here, and because I did the one end fairly concentric, I'm just going to push the live center in where it hits, and fortunately it hit pretty much in the center. So again, I should have plenty of material on all 4 sides and be able to get a good round shape out of this. When you look closely when we get done, there's a head. I don't believe it drives all the way into the furniture to the rest on the head, but nevertheless there is a head to this thing. It's not just a straight pin. So it's square. I'm just going to nick the top off as we go, and take it real easy until I got all 4 edges. I'm nicking about the same, and soon I will be down into where it's actually round, about there, almost. I speeded this up a little bit. I've left the head. Now, As I said, the body is just over 3/8 or around 10 millimeter. Checking with the fingernail there to see if I'm the same on both cuts. And the other end was close to 1/2 of an inch. But again, it didn't seem to correlate to metrics or inches. It's kind of a handmade. I'm not sure just exactly what it was, but it slipped through 9/16 really easy. And 9/16 and 14 millimeters are almost the same thing. So that's about what I was shooting for before sanding. And then down close to 1/2 of an inch for the finish. So the end was actually hemispherical. And I'm going to get the live center out of the way. Check this over a little bit. And then see where you are on size. Won't go through the 3/8 as I said. I'd have to push really hard. The 10 millimeter, a little sloppy. So I must be about there. Now I'll check the 1/2 and the 14 millimeter. Well, actually, I made a mistake. This is the old peg. I'm checking the original peg against the new peg, and it had the same friction fit at 3/8 and the same looseness at 10 millimeters. So I think we're good. So there we are, back in the collet now, and I'm just going to take this file and gently try to make this hemispherical head. Kind of freeform it there. And one more check. There's the old piece. Won't go through the 1/2. Loose on the 14. But they're pretty much the same. Just got to get that head a little more hemispherical. Well, I didn't get the chance to show you the flat that I had to sand onto these, but that's when they go into the hole, there's a piece of furniture that intersects the hole with the flat side, and this goes in and wedges that, and as I said, it partially holds the pieces of furniture together. Don Shoemaker was credited with being a furniture maker in the Mexican Modernist fashion in the 1960s. So there's a close-up of the one of the new ones, and you can still see the sanding marks on the flat. But as I said, all of this is buried inside the furniture, so you don't see very much of this. Here's another view of the chair, and as you can see, it's made of wood, and it's got a leather sling, so it was actually known as the Sling Chair. Well, that's it. It's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see if we can't get another video out to you pretty soon.